Hey, this is James with Support the Scene, and I am hanging out with an amazing musician. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Tissa Rahim.
Now, we just had an awesome interview that will be coming out before this, but we were just speaking briefly upon how gender and religion should not be a part of music. Just in a way that, like, there should be no harassment, there should be no, like, basically everyone should be equal, and music should ascend. We should all aim to be better people. Do you think music influences cultural diversity, or do you think it draws more lines with genres and gender specific music?
I think music has done a ton to get rid of the lines and promote cultural diversity. The first thing when you asked me that came to mind was just the history of African American music in the States, which contributed so much to the movement there. I just feel like a lot of the music from those eras is synonymous with the civil rights movement, right?
Well, and that's the thing, like. It's the question, who came first, the egg or the chicken? Did music culturally influence that movement, or did that movement culturally influence the music? And I think both, as you say, go hand in hand, because the one thing with music is that you can look back on when it was created or when that song was written, and it's almost like a time capsule. You can instantly get transported back to the essence of when that was made. And are there any certain songs that come to mind that right off the bat you think of that bring you back in time?
So I immediately thought of I Wish I Knew How to Be Free by Nina Simone. And then I also thought of What's Going On by Marvin Gaye.
Nice.
Yeah, because that, especially that last one, it's so clever how it doesn't even sound like a protest song. It just sounds like a fun sort of thing to jam along. But if you listen to the lyrics, it's very much a civil rights song.
Well, that's the thing, because you don't have to be like a Bob Dylan in order to get political correctness or your political views out there. I mean, having that commercialism, having that ability to be easy listening, some people can really enjoy it. Get your message out there way more than just an old guy with a guitar singing about politics. It's music has that ability to spread like wildfire if it's catchy, or if you think of some of the one-hit wonders that come through. And once again, it's kind of like a time capsule, because a one-hit wonder will come and go, and it's like it's like a little snippet of what that was. What's that? When everyone says they got rickrolled,
Never Gonna Give You
yeah,
Up.
exactly. like that's that. Everyone can think of that music video and can think of that song, and it had a certain flair to it, had a certain sound of it. But if it came out today, do you think it would be as successful?
It would probably more quickly turn into a parody song, right?
Right.
I don't think it was that at the time, right? I think
no,
it was
like it was a good, like that's the thing, like
just
these
Rick
songs.
Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up.
And then somehow, some way, they got changed into like a parody of themselves, almost, kind of thing, right?
So then, do you think in 20 years from now, somebody will write a song in the current style, and it will be?
I know, right? Like
somebody writes a Migos song or something.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, or how even 5 years ago, dubstep was such a big thing, and Skrillex, and how it became from a super underground movement to the most talked about artists. And then even now, 5 years later, dubstep it's not a big thing anymore. Like, it's still out there, it's still doing its thing, there's still people making dubstep music for sure, but it's not like dominating the top 40 the top 10 charts anymore. But it would be really crazy in the future if all of a sudden, like someone brings up like a Skrillex song and everyone's just like, oh man, just you got Skrillex.
Right.
What are some of your fondest memories when you think about the scene here in Vancouver? Because you've been a part of it for a while now.
Yeah. My fondest memories are honestly just making the connections with other musicians in the city. Because when you look at it from the outside, at least I've been very lucky with my experience in that I don't see any harshness and I don't see any competition in the community. I just see a lot of love and support. Like when I have shows, and I mean, obviously I'm super grateful for anybody who comes out, family, friends, new fans. But when I see other musicians come out too, I just feel like that's almost part of being a musician and part of supporting the community. And another thing that always warms my heart is people who take it upon themselves, like you actually, who are actively contributing to allowing this music community to grow. So I think of things like, I'm not sure if you've heard of like Van City Studio, for example. Yeah. So that's actually was one of the first music meetups that I started to go to when I started my solo artist career. And even that, like I remember going into this room where I didn't know anybody except for the person named Travis who had like reached out to come out to this thing. But it was still nice because everybody was super open and welcoming to newcomers, and just having that love and support in the scene is really lovely.
Well, and I think that's what's great. I mean, as we talked about briefly off camera, we met back when you were in a band, and I remember I was in a heavy metal band at the time, and the scene back then, it felt more competitive when it was on Granville Strip. Like when you were either playing at the Forum or what was it? Joe's Apartment became Studio Records, and then the what was the Baltimore used to be the Cellar,
right?
The Cellar, and you had a good number of places to play on a strip, and you could go out on a Friday and see all these rock groups and indie groups and things like that, but there was only so many places to play that held live music, so it was very competitive, and I felt like it was more, I don't know, it wasn't as loving as what it's become now. When you've moved past the band stuff and you're in songwriter territory, when you're in this community of supportive people, it's super nice, and it's more cutthroat when you're trying to be a good rock band, I think, whereas if you're just a supportive individual in the scene, you attract other supportive individuals, and you can move forward and you can create your craft. Like there's so many songwriting seminars that I see happen around Vancouver, from Christina Lau, Nimbus does a whole bunch, and I think it's really cool, because it's funny because I write so differently than like a lot of singer-songwriters, because I don't go from that chord and vocal aspect. I go more full instrumentals, and then I bring lyrics on top, kind of thing. So I've gone to a few seminars, and we talk about chord progressions and things like that, and it's different. It's a whole different way of thought for me. Like from writing lyrics and then sitting down with your guitar. Like, do you write the lyrics first, or do you jam on some chords until you have something with a melody, or like?
It actually is, it's kind of 50-50. Sometimes I'll think of a lyric first that I like really want to integrate into a song because I think it's cool, or it has a certain ring to it, and then I'll write the song around that. But sometimes I'll have a melody or a chord progression that I keep playing on repeat, and then I write lyrics to match the melody.
Cool.
Yeah, I like to keep it fresh.
That's cool, because having both ways of it means your music is free to do what it wants to do. Any inspiration can strike. I find I get very limited when I'll write a really cool track and I'm really excited about it, and then I almost have to force myself to write lyrics, and sometimes it doesn't come out as natural or as good as I want it to, because I'm basically sitting down and trying to put something in this box, and it doesn't flow.
Once you're forcing it like that in music, that's when I know that I need to step back and maybe reassess how to approach the song, or maybe give the song a little bit of time.
Yeah. And
it's definitely a feeling. It's like an intuition you have, I think.
And collaboration is great.
That too.
Like being able to step back and maybe pass it off to someone else who would be like, what would be really cool with this, and then all of a sudden your song grows into something that's completely unique.
I love collaborating with people. I think most of the time it makes the song stronger.
With when you think of songs that are on your iPod or your cell phone or your Spotify list nowadays, what's one of your favorite collaborations?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think. Who have I been listening to recently? I've been listening a lot to Billie Eilish recently. And
really?
I know her and her brother, they write all their stuff together and produce all their stuff together in their bedroom, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool. She's so talented and she's so young.
And that's the cool thing with today's music, is that the accessibility is out there.
Totally.
Everyone can learn enough to start making their own music. You don't have to spend $600 to go in and record demos anymore.
Yeah.
And that's horrible for me because I have less studio clients. But it's great because I see more music being able to home grow itself.
It's cool because you literally don't necessarily need that anymore, and you don't need like a label to back you anymore, but it also means that you have way more people putting out music and way more noise, so it's harder to break through that as well, I would say.
Exactly. How do you find reaching your fans and your audience and trying to break that social media barrier? Because it's nice having social media there, but sometimes you feel like no matter what you post, you only reach a certain amount of people. How do you find of expanding your audience?
I do find like not only playing lots of shows but also going to lots of shows, because there's
supporting the scene.
Exactly, supporting the scene. Exactly. I did not do that on purpose, but it just worked. Playing shows, first of all, it makes people get to know you as a person if you're like up there, and I like to talk between my sets and just talk about random stuff, so mostly it's about the song, but sometimes I'll like drift off into random things, and before I start on each song, most of the time I'm saying like something that lets the audience get to know who I am as a person.
Well, because that's so big nowadays, is that we're not, especially for someone who's coming to see you for the first time, they may not necessarily be able to hear exactly what you're saying in the vocals, or they may not be fully paying attention. But when those moments where you can connect with people and you are 100% yourself, people will connect with that.
Yeah.
Because people want to know you and then follow your music. People don't want to just follow your music and then be like, I wonder who writes this. No one does that nowadays.
No, not at all. Like, it's kind of a package deal. Like, you can be an amazing songwriter and singer, but people also want to know who you are as a person.
Which is why all these social media things are so big now. That's why Instagram is a thing. Because especially with the whole stories that Instagram started,
Totally.
I know people who don't update them every half an hour, every hour, that post new stuff on their stories. And I know people like myself who I'll post when I can, but I'll post because you have to post, or you can do a story. You can do both, but most people keep their story to be lighthearted and kind of personal.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to get used to the stories. I'll happily post, what I'm doing and all that stuff, but when you're facing the camera to yourself and you're like, hi, like, I'm off to do this, because I think that's important as well, to just like,
well, it's huge.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been told I'm getting better at it, so that's good.
Well, and that's the thing, like,
even being awkward is fine. I have nothing against being awkward.
As long as yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's what people want to connect with.
Yeah. That being like down to earth, and I've been told even my stage banter is like cute but awkward. So
right?
It's fine. I like that. It's funny. It's funny to me.
We're totally in like our generation is very much, we were all that awkward kid in high school.
Yeah.
And we're all trying to be together and move past that. And it's great because we're all kind of in the same ship.
Yeah.
So no one's trying to be the cool kids anymore. Everyone realizes we were all awkward in high school. And I don't know, I think we're in a cool part in music. After this record, what are your plans? Are you going to go on tour? Are you going to just keep writing? Are you going to where are you taking your music?
So what I'm currently doing is I'm back in the studio already prepping for another EP.
There you go.
I've got 2 songs that are currently in the works, like people coming in and laying down instruments on them. And then I've also got 2. So with this one, what I did is, again, this one's actually funny. It's a combination. So I have 2 songs that I made using Logic and 2 songs that I wrote on a guitar.
Oh,
so
perfect.
it's kind of a combination of the 2.
Yeah.
And one of them actually also has more of the most Persian influence I've ever had in a song before.
Cool.
Yeah, because I started off on Logic sampling this. She's basically known as Iran's Cher. Her name is Gugush.
Whoa.
I sampled one of her songs on this. It's called Ma Pishuni is the name of the song.
Yeah.
I was actually going to have my mom come in because she's a Persian singer and do not the same thing, but do something off of that.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, because it'll be beautiful and I won't get sued. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a nice combination of the 2.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping one of my next goals is to do a little tour, maybe even if I'm starting off just BC, Alberta.
Well, because that's the nice thing if you're not having to lug around a full band and you're not having to, if you got your tracks or your guitar, you can hit the road and you can really just, the world is your oyster.
Yeah. So hoping that that's also starting to be planned right now too. So
that's awesome.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for joining us. I've got to hit the road, and I just want to say thanks for coming. Is there anything else you'd like us to shout out? Oh, just can you give us your social media links?
Sure. Yeah. So you can find me everywhere online under my name, which is Tissa Rahim, Tissarahim. So my website is tissarahim.com, and on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, you can find me under that as well.
Now, just a quick touch. With your name being Tissa, have you ever had a bad Starbucks moment or anyone mispronouncing your name like super dramatically horrible?
Usually it's not dramatically horrible, but a lot of times people say Tissa, which is totally understandable to me because that's how it's spelled. So
right.
I can't really fault them for it. But actually, most of the time I find I have to correct people, but that's totally fine.
What about your last name? Have you had any horrible butcherings?
Weirdly, Rahim has been okay. I've had
really?
Raham or something. That's kind of comes out of nowhere.
But just a slight twist of the vowels, nothing.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky actually. A lot of Persian people have super long last names.
Yeah.
And a lot of like sounds.
Yeah.
I don't have that at all. So and it rolls off the tongue, and it's unique enough that I didn't have to change my artist name.
Exactly. Right?
So it's like a perfect combination to me.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you later. See you guys. Bye. Hey, it's James from Support the Scene. If you're interested in being interviewed or want to be featured on our channel, please comment down below or find us on Facebook and message us, and we'll get back to you as fast as we can. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Rock on.